Tennessee, a bill requiring drunk drivers to pay child support for their victims' children is now on its way to the governor's desk. Both houses of the state legislature unanimously passed the legislation. If signed, Tennessee becomes the first state to enforce this type of punishment for offenders. Newsy national correspondent Mara Siriani is here now. And Mara, how would it work really?
Yeah, Jay, well, from tragedy comes change. I think this is a really good example of that. Now, it all started with a woman in Missouri fighting for her grandson, Bentley, who lost both of his parents to a drunk driver. Now, in Tennessee, the bill was amended to include the names of the children of a Chattanooga police officer who was also the victim of a drunk driver. Nicholas Gallinger was a proud husband, police officer, and dad to Ethan and Hailey.
Our brother was full of life. He loved his children.
It's been 3 years since the 38-year-old officer was hit and killed by a drunk driver. Authorities say he was inspecting an overflowing manhole late one night when Janet Hines hit him with her car and took off. Hines later turned herself in and was sentenced to 11 years in prison after being convicted of vehicular homicide by intoxication. Under Ethan's, Hailey's, and Bentley's law, Tennessee drivers like Hines convicted of killing a parent or caregiver would be ordered to pay child support for each of the victim's children until they turn 18. The bill states drivers who are incarcerated and unable to pay have up to 1 year after their release to begin making payments.
I said, I can't just sit back. I said, families are suffering. Families deserve justice.
The bill was first known as Bentley's Law after a 5-year-old boy in Missouri whose parents and 4-month-old brother were killed last year by a drunk driver. Bentley's father is Cecilia Williams' son. She's been fighting ever since for justice, not only for her grandson, but for other kids whose parents were senselessly killed by drunk drivers.
You have to create something to be a constant reminder to them as well as to, I can never do this again. I destroyed this family, because sadly, most of them become repeat offenders.
Williams says she was put in contact with Tennessee Representative Mark Hall, who introduced the bill there. In a statement, Hall said in part, as promised, I will do whatever it takes to protect the future of our most valuable resources, our children. Williams says she's thrilled with the response and the traction the law is already picking up.
I am out there fighting for your family. And I will continue to fight for your family, because families like mine, we all have that life sentence forever. The children that are left behind, they have that life sentence forever. They don't have their parents.
And Williams tells me she's currently working with lawmakers in 17 states to introduce Bentley's Law into their legislatures. And Jay, this has been a really big talker on social media all weekend since this was introduced or passed in Tennessee, I should say. And I feel like, 17 states, but maybe it's picking up traction. We could see it even more states.
Right, maybe picks up some momentum here anyway. Historic legislation nonetheless, and I'm sure a lot of the families impacted are glad to see it go across the finish line. Mara, thanks.